Alright, so this is the
More
second
power.
round. And again, yeah, power. That's a good habit to have. Just immediately identify the colony, our main resource of the game.
Yeah. High
So,
aluminium and high iron.
well, there's no obvious scientist out there, just begging to be taken.
Yeah, that's an excellent spot. Aluminium's close. Silicon's close. Could even be expansion with ice that close. Maybe.
Robot. That's not what I would have taken there.
Poor man scientist is robot.
I guess one.
Zorbaz took the aluminium there as well. Both of those players are gonna hurt for aluminium. See what Pavlos does. Yeah, they're all over there.
Unfortunately, Pavlos found just normal robots. I'm saying that because this is a power colony with normal power price, which means that it's absolutely possible to go for a power robot. Though I will admit that
It's high iron, and there's no iron down. There's single lows.
yeah, I will admit that with Boguses found, it's definitely a lot harder to found power robot because that was the spot for the power robot, and it was blocked off by an expensive. Zorbaz going for another scavenger. So this game, with two robots, with an expensive. This is in large part going to be the power game, so whoever can hit the power in time is going to benefit most. Which
Power graph is already looking disgusting.
it's already doubled in price, and Zorbaz is going to go for a geotherm. Considering that carbon is for $4 and he's actually auto selling it, which is a terrible decision at this point in time. That does not sound terrible because a lot of the times HQ level 2 geotherms are not a good decision. Except
This
for
game,
Scavenger.
definitely.
Yeah, and this game, the Scavenger can absolutely afford to do it. It's only a question of actually doing it.
Pavlos claimed it and then took back the claim for the geotherm. That was.
Yeah, Pavlos. Yeah, sure, you lost the geotherm, but that's a good decision not to try to push for it because you still need to upgrade on HQ to HQ level 3 most of the time as a steel user before going for geotherm. I'd really love for Zorbaz to actually build it. You can absolutely afford to do it at this point. Apparently,
wants to upgrade apparently, but let it spike a little higher. Make the robots hurt.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to actually fly the claim there, so there's no reason to wait. And my guess would be that they just forgot about it, which can happen.
Also, he is in a crater with EMPs available.
This is a bit of a bigger crater this time, so it's not going to be as terrible as both of the craters from last game. But excuse me. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't know if I have as big a problem with this. This is probably okay. I probably
Zorbaz reacted. Both of them losing money. Also, both of them using 60 power apiece.
Yeah, losing money is not something you want to do most of the time. Water should die real quick because of that. I want to say overcommitment to water. Yeah, I would love to see the geotherm. And there's a shortage on power. Well, that's. Well.
Oh no.
So Cheesecake has
Cheesecake
solar panels.
And Pavlos is almost finished his geotherm. It is gooned as well.
This one point, I want to see one of these two players win the game, just to prove a point that they identified
Power colony. Yeah.
which resource is over $200 and on HQ on Sol 2.
Congratulations. You looked to the left of the screen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so much water.
Finally, Zorbaz is identifying that, and they moved into a Winterbine far away. This is an interesting claim. I'm not sure how to evaluate it. So they went for a Winterbine right at the bottom of the map.
Ordinarily, I like plays like this. Because you know, later in the game, you know, it's really nice to be able to change everything around. If power's been sitting down low for quite some time, and for some reason you need more water, it's really nice to be able to swap that out. Even if it's really far away, it's really nice to be able to swap it out. However, he's got so much water nearby, like, so much. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm of two minds at this play. It's good usually, but it's really far away. Also, it's I don't think it's nearly as flexible as you might think. And by the way, 36,000 for an auction.
That was something. That was Zorbaz as well. Also, it was he had to pay the 3,000 for the auctioneer tile as well.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a strange tile. It's obviously also a Winterbine tile, but it's like you could have if you were going to go all out on this tile, you could have at least taken the one adjacent to your existing Winterbine. And this auction is just Soren Syndrome.
Yeah.
You really did not need to take this one. You have you have more water than you will ever need in any game.
You swapping into greenhouse farms. Yeah, going back to where you put your wind turbines, I often like to take a triangle and try to get teleportation if I'm going to swap things out as well. So there's on some of these cliffs there'd be a triangle that you can get a wind turbine power thing going on. Later in the game, if you do manage to get teleportation, it's an easy set of life support or glass or whatever else you want to put down.
Yeah. Now, I guess the one good thing about these wind turbines is that they are they're doing some work. At the end of the day, you have a total of 4 power per second, which for a scavenger is quite a bit at HQ level 3. So you're going to repay some of that debt, but I don't.
Of that over 120,000 at one point debt.
Yeah, I still don't think it was worth it though. At the end of the day,
Pavlos is making power money.
Yep, and moving into a pet lab. And the superconductor already queued up, and chems are really cheap, and no one else is in a patent lab, so this should be very promising for Pavlos, who, by the way, out of curiosity, is the winner of his group in round 1, so he's maybe our favorite for this game. Yeah,
he split up his iron and steel. As soon as I see robots doing that, I'm a little bit afraid.
I've been noticing that this latest batch of newcomers is they're scary people.
Than the last. Yeah. So what do you think of Zorbaz? That many claims outside of his base. He's shipping food along with a whole bunch of water. Is that to head off the pirates a bit, do you think? Because it'd be very unlikely you'd end up with the food out of the amount of things flying around.
Yeah, that's good pirate defense. Yeah, Zorbaz is definitely being the focus of our attention because of
being
unorthodox plays.
that too.
It's just very awkward territory for them. You were complaining about founding in a crater, but I wish their stuff was in a crater. It's all over the place.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's been getting things out of the crater, trying to avoid the inevitable EMP.
I will say that that power is so excellent that they're actually in A levels of debt at this point. Maybe there was a Cook the Books. I don't know who picked Cook the Books. Someone bought one. Which, by the way, if they did it, it was an excellent call on their part, and that kind of justifies all those crazy auctions a little bit. Except I just don't agree that the territory.
That was Zorbaz. That was Zorbaz
Yeah.
went crazy into debt and then cooked some books.
Yeah, it can be a good play, but I don't think that the exact tiles that were gained in the process justify it.
Congratulations.
Oh, Pavlos has superconductor, is about to get thinking machines. And someone just put down a circuit overload on the wrong side of all that power. Also, way too late for all the power as well. On Pavlos's,
No,
wind
no, I
turbines, they started on the.
I don't necessarily agree with that. This is the safe play. Maybe they assumed that one of those tiles could be gooned, so they just wanted to check.
Farms don't use too much power.
Yeah, but I guess the idea is that placing it on the wind turbines, there could be a very obvious goon. Although, of course, there are spies, so you could check that.
There's plenty of spies. Well, not so long ago, Pavlos was sitting on 50,000 cash.
He's also HQ 5 ahead of everybody else. One player
He's spent all his money on chems, I think.
that too, I guess. But he has thinking machines. Offworlds are going to be okay eventually. It's going to take a while though, and the offworlds themselves are going to be somewhat expensive, but not too much. At this point, Zorbaz claims 2 Pleasure Dome tiles, which I have to question. They seem to be making good money, but the problem with them is that power is insane this game, and you have 2 robots in the game. It's very dangerous to rely on Pleasure Domes this heavily when there are 2 robots.
Well, he has got those 2 wind turbines down south. And a geotherm. He's got a lot of disconnected territory.
Yeah,
those turbines are going to hurt him.
Yeah. Again, we're seeing 2 silicon tiles from Zorbaz. This time, I'm willing to... Another aluminium tile, that's... I have to seriously question that. I don't think you need that much aluminium more. I would much... sorry?
Who's claimed the other aluminium? You said someone had 2 aluminium.
Zorbaz. And winning another auction, that's... This one was a black market, though, it seems.
Yeah, the real ones.
It's just
couple of seconds.
So strange.
Alright, changing tack a bit. What does BogusRogus
Yeah,
need
I had
be
wanted,
relevant in any way?
I had wanted to talk about him, but Zorbaz is winning our attention here with
so many.
With
He's got
decisions.
teleportation now. So that'll.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Anyway.
Yeah.
BogusRogus currently. He did have 2 farms and 1 electrolysis reactor, and he's just made it a triangle, which is better.
Yeah.
Well, optimal, I should say.
I want to say that Bogus picked a spot that might not be very good, especially as very inexpensive, has slow upgrades. You're shipping iron from far away, you have to ship aluminium from far away. That kind of got him a little bit behind in upgrades, and I wish I'd
only went for 1 iron and 2 steel.
Yeah, that's
when the other iron just next to his own, and yeah.
That's a big deal. I think that slowed him down, because if you look at his territory right now, it's pretty decent territory. Like, but he's also
expensive as well. The ice is very nice.
Yeah, the ice. I have to say that I almost wish that he had gone for the ice. But then again, fuel was never particularly expensive because of Zorbaz moving into reactors pretty early. But I'm not sure what was holding him behind this whole time. He's only now HQ level 4, and 2 players already have offworlds going.
Mm.
I think it's actually still possible to catch up for Bogus if he concentrates on steel a lot more. If he takes another iron tile, you don't actually need another iron tile. You have 600 iron, so if you can just go for 2 more steel mills, um, maybe get a bit more
Yeah,
water.
how did he get 600 iron? Maybe he's been doing the smart thing and buying it when it gets down close to 1.
That's possible. Maybe another theory was maybe the steel mills were off when power was high. That is possible. Which is questionable play because at the end of the day he did not get out of debt, so he did not really make any power money. And steel was just solid all the way through. It never crashed. So yeah, and you really need to start spending those claims. Now the water tile is fine. You don't want more than 2 water tiles though as Bogus. If you're ever in trouble, you just go for ice, I think. Of course.
So Zorbaz just auctioned a tile and won it for 6,000, and he's put down a low water pump on there. At this point, wouldn't you put that next to your base or at the colony if you can, and try to get yourself an optimization center to do the same thing better?
Yeah. If you're going to commit to 36,000 for a claim, you can really claim anything. You're not in the position of having to claim a tile which is useless for anyone else. So you could have gone for. I want to see an offer by the colony this game because there are no dynamites, only mutinies. The goons are very expensive, so it's still going to be really tricky defending it.
What's it called? This is another tile auction, I assume, by Zorbaz. Zorbaz has opted for that instead of a mutiny or a goon squad, despite the fact that Pavlos has got a spy down, has already frozen the off-world of Zorbaz, and has currently got a mutiny waiting to go.
So, at the end of the day, Zorbaz is getting a lot of claims. The reason I'm still not happy with this is, well, first of all, he's indeed dead. But for no reason, really. Secondly, he has, let's take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 useful claims, and 4 that are completely useless. So he has 23 claims, which is a ton for a scavenger, but at the same time, just the tiles that he chose to pick, like the disconnected power tiles, like an extra silicon tile, they're not very good. And about the silicon tile, well, actually, Pavlos is making silicon, but he's actually underproducing silicon. So if only Zorbaz had realized that silicon is not being produced by anyone as an overproduced, and stopped selling silicon, that actually kind of would justify the double tile. But this way he's just producing a ton and keeping it cheap for everyone, and everyone is making glass off of that. Actually, the price of glass has crashed, whereas the price of silicon.
If I was in his position, I'd be very scared of BogusRogus, who's sitting on a patch of it and can easily make all that money that he could be making. Admittedly, right now, not such, but yeah.
Yep. Bogus is finally HQ level 5. Pavlos built 2 offworlds, and he identified that there's an offworld at Zorbaz. So one of the problems with having this territory with water is that it's really easy to spy your territory. That way, like if everything is detached except for a couple buildings, then 2 spies would essentially make sure that Zorbaz does not have an offworld unnoticed. And Pavlos is aware of that offworld, and he's going to be aware of the other offworlds as well. Because one bonus for Zorbaz is that he did pick a very good spot for one of his pleasure domes. Unfortunately, because of those crazy auctions, he's in D levels of that. So
I was about to
Pavlos,
say, out of all of this, I thought Zorbaz was going to win and Pavlos was going to be fine, but probably not do amazingly well. And yet, that's not how this is going down. It looks like BogusRogus and Cheesecake are going to duke it out, and Pavlos is just going to come through at the end and
yeah.
destroy everyone.
Well,
57,000, no.
oh my goodness gracious!
If Zorbaz looks at this later, he will know.
Someone needs
He
to.
needs to.
Yeah, someone needs to link that video that Feltani clipped out of Soren's stream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good to get more tiles. That's always a good thing. But at some point, you want to do more with what you've got, and not have two disconnected wind turbines at the bottom of the map.
I respect this though. This is commitment. This is him saying, I think this is a good play. I'm going to stick with it. I'm not afraid of anything.
I'd be so much happier if he ended up winning this, right? And really, he should have been purchasing a lot more cooker books. This could have gone really well for him if he kept cooking the books. Yeah, if he did the whole blues thing of just being a stampeding mountain of debt that just eventually clears up everyone, that would be amazing to watch.
Yeah. One thing about if you're willing to try to go for this play, you have to secure your stock quickly, essentially, because he had the cash, I believe, but he just didn't move into his stock quickly enough, and then everyone jumped on him, and there he goes. Because it's one thing making your stock cheap; it's another thing if you can actually also secure it and maybe repay the debt. And that's a legit thing that usually doesn't work, but you can try to make it work. But yeah, Pavlos is at an insane price. He has the only off-world on the map. So one thing that needs to be talked about is why exactly is he ahead, and why is Cheesecake and BogusRogus not ahead?
Power. That is the only reason. He picked up on power, he then picked up on more power when he realized no one else was really doing anything about it, and he ended up with some 50 or 60,000 in cash on HQ level 3, and he's just stampeded from there.
I want to say that Cheesecake also committed to power, but it was not a strong enough commitment, it seems. Just 2 solar panels for the longest time.
2 solar panels that got mutinied as well.
Whether I wasn't paying attention. Also, shipping that aluminium, which he had to do, it was forced. Although I'll say that when you have 700 and it's worth $13, you can really stop it. About 3 minutes ago. But yeah, he has decent territory. Like if you look at it, what is his biggest mistake? I want to say it's lack of advanced buildings. You see he has really good territory, but at the end of the day, it can only make you so much money. Where are your off-worlds? Where are your pleasure domes aren't that good, but where's your... he had a patent lab, but he only ever managed to get cold fusion. Optimization center has been running for not too long, only 4 optimizations at this point. Finally, we're seeing an off-world.
Very little water.
Yeah, only a low tile.
And he's had that solar condenser solo next to his base the whole time.
Oh yeah, that's 3 water per second during the day.
3, 1.5.
Well, 1.5 from solar and 1.5 from adjacency. I have to question that tile because you have a medium tile right next to your base, which you can then potentially expand on. It's actually a little bit surprising that none of them took it, because at the end of the day, shipping does cost you money. So those cool tiles down there, the big patch of tiles, they're cool, but sometimes it's maybe better to take tiles that are closer but a bit worse, especially for a robot, because you're not obliged to make life support, and you're not obliged to make water either, so you can always transition them.
Pavlos got superconductor as well, so and perpetual motion. Yeah. I think it was power that decided
Yes,
this game.
absolutely. It's as we had said. If you identify that power is important when it's $250 worth on Soul 2, you can pat yourself on the back. Um,
I mean, two robots in a power quality. I'm amazed. Anyway. Hopefully
yeah.
people will see.
Well, also it is, however, important. Power is actually very tricky to deal with most of the time. So identifying that it's going to be extra valuable, and planning for how you're going to treat it is the big problem. And I think that's part of what BogusRogus did not manage to do. The reason he's not that high in that behind in that is because he had some, and then he was also behind in upgrades, so he wasn't consuming as much. Cheesecake also, I think, undercommitted to power this game, and was
It would have
bits.
been fine if everyone was going in for the power game. I think for how high the price was and the fact that it
Absolutely,
was just him and Zorbaz's
absolutely.
geotherm at one point, like he should have gone in and made all the money so no one else could.
I will say that no one really died to that, which is also good enough in a way because power was insane. So, well, except for Zorbaz, but he died for obvious reasons. He was the star of the show. I hope this is a good lesson for him, though. uh,
Zorbaz was on 222,000 debt when he got bought, and he
so
paid 124,000 in interest.
251,000 in auction purchases.
Far out.
Uh,
Check
to
that out.
compare,
24,000, 36,000,
yeah,
24,000.
that's
Just keeps getting.
only one auction was ever won by another player, and it was 36,000 for claim. Because anything else was being taken by Zorbaz.
Mm.
I'm just catching up with the chat.
Yeah, there wasn't much use of the black market actually. It seems. No, just by Cheesecake. Cheesecake didn't touch it much.
Yeah. So
Almost no pirates. Again, no one likes pirates. What's going on?
pirates are very difficult to like these days. They're just very easy to overlook because they're a little bit underpowered. And what do you really
Compared to
pirate
everything
this
else you
game?
can get, but you can't really. Water at one point would have made your money back almost immediately.
I guess. Yeah.
Also, we're not seeing any hacker array players.
That's probably for the best. Honestly.
We saw it last game and it didn't seem to do much.
Yeah. Again, it's very hard to use the hacker array well. It basically, if you want to play with the hacker array well, you just need to commit fully to get yourself into this right mindset of constantly checking all the markets, constantly checking what everyone is producing, constantly queuing up the hacks, constantly making sure you have the money for it. It's a lot of effort. Um,
Definitely what I'm weakest at. I can think about tiles well. I cannot think about sitting on a pile of cash to throw at shortages and so on.
and
Let alone whether my opponents have got a stockpile of it and are waiting for me.
and for newer players, especially if you think about it, newer players they have they you kind of spend a lot more time just thinking about what you want to do as opposed to when you have 500 plus hours in the game and you just sort of follow patterns more or less.
As I say, I'm surprised at how little pattern greed we're seeing.
Oh well, yeah.
I remember seeing 2 pattern labs out of
there were
single
three.
players. You know, like that when I played in the Newcomer tournament, it was amazing. All the patents, get all of the patents.
I believe the three players went for Patent Labs. It's just that Pavlos had that early lead with patents. Did he afford the Patent Lab at the HQ level 3, I wonder?
I think it was, and I think he spent a bit of his power money on the chems for it as well. He went superconductor, thinking machines, and everything else from there.
Yeah, if you compare, so the first patent he gets was on Sol 4, which means on basically on midnight, which means that he had the patent lab running by Sol 3, whereas the first patent anyone else gets was the midnight of Sol 4, or like 24:00.
It's something I've found newer players, they really don't appreciate how good thinking machines are. I'm pretty sure the winner of both of the last games got thinking machines and prioritized getting thinking machines before slant drilling or teleportation.
I don't know if thinking machines decided this game though.
No, but just as a what patterns do you want? And thinking machines should be at the front of your mind most of the time.
I don't know if I would prioritize thinking machines this game. This was definitely the power game, so I would prioritize those patents. Then I would think about teleportation, especially for robots. Then I would consider. What would I consider? I would consider nanotech or something. It'd be carbon scrubbing to save some claims on carbon. Yeah, I guess I could go for thinking machines, but at the time when the patent labs were running, the offers did not seem like too promising. Like it would take a while for them, so it's
the 3 wind turbines that Pavlos had were next to his base as well. So superconductor and thinking machines.
Yeah, I guess that's a good play. Yeah, that kind of justifies it for him specifically. As other players, I don't know if I would put it as too high of a priority. But it's definitely an excellent patent. Also,
we should get on to the next one.
Yeah.
Then.